We're going to go back to Moscow for, we've got some more pictures of, here is Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal correspondent, arrested on charges of spying by the Russians. We can speak now to our correspondent, John Sparks. John, obviously this is the first time we've seen Evan Gershkovich since he was arrested.
That is right, yeah. He is the significance of this is that he is the first American, the first Western journalist, I believe, to have been arrested by the Russian authorities since the Cold War. That is the significance of this. The case today is around his detention, his pre-trial detention, and we can see him here in the dock of the courtroom. He looks relatively relaxed. We'll be speaking to his lawyers there. But this is not about the substance of his charges. That will come later. At the moment, this is about how he is being detained at the moment. He's currently being held in custody at a prison just outside of Moscow called Lefortovo. It's a notorious prison in Russia where traditionally political prisoners have been kept. He has been charged with espionage or spying. He faces up to 20 years in prison if he is found guilty. And what the Russians say is that he was caught red-handed trying to obtain classified material about an arms factory in Yekaterinburg. That's a large city in Siberia, almost 2,000 kilometers to the east of Moscow. And he was arrested on the 30th of March. The last time the newspaper that he works for, the Wall Street Journal, heard from him was just as he was about to enter a steak restaurant. Weren't able to get in touch with him anymore. There we can see him again. He's in the dock. This will be before the case, before the hearing that he is about to appear in. He will be trying to, I would assume his lawyers will be trying to get an alternative custody arrangement for him. He is being held at the moment in a prison called Lefortovo, just outside of Moscow. The Americans have been struggling to get access to him. The U.S. ambassador yesterday was able to see him and said that he was holding up. His spirits were strong. And the U.S. President, Joe Biden, he has talked about this case as well. He has called the detention of Gershkovich as totally illegal. And the State Department, the Foreign Ministry of the U.S. government, they say he has been wrongfully detained. The charges are bogus and that the case is political. And it is possible that the Russians are thinking longer term around a prisoner swap. That has happened in the past. Back in December, they swapped an American basketball player called Brittany Griner, who had been convicted on drugs charges. They swapped her for a notorious arms trafficker called Victor Bout, who was held by the Americans. They did that swap back in December. That could be part of the thinking here. But at the moment, Gershkovich is trying to get alternative detention arrangements at the moment. This is not about the substance of those charges. I think that he is looking, realistically, he's looking at spending a long-term, a significant period of time in a Russian prison at the moment.
The woman in the centre of the picture now in blue, that is Lynn Tracy. She is the US ambassador to Moscow. I mean, it's pretty significant that she's actually there in the courtroom, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is significant. She did have the opportunity to see him. She was able to gain access to the prison yesterday, and she was able to report that Gershkovich was in good spirits. And Gershkovich has also been able to write to his parents. Said he's been eating properly. He's been able to get some exercise. He's also writing as well. Again, you know, it's significant because it's so rare. He is a journalist for an established newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. They have bureau all over the world. He was hired just before the invasion of Ukraine began. Prior to that, he'd been working to an English language publication in Moscow, the Moscow Times. He's an experienced journalist. He speaks Russian. So he would have been aware of some of the risks and dangers of working in Russia, but obviously significant concerns now, both for his family, for the US government as well, who see him as a political prisoner.